Great. So welcome everyone to our new demo for the Node Wallet, which is 31st. Today we're going to finalize everything about Agile delegations. So we're going to cover add delegation, edit, revoke, view delegations. So everything what we have delivered so far and what will be included to the release, we are going to cover on today's demo. Also, we have started to work on the final features of our recent Polkadot Treasury proposal, which are staking improvements. We're going to also highlight this on this demo, and that should be released quite soon. And of course, a couple words regarding the roadmap towards the end of the slides. So let's go. While others are joining, feel free to scan the QR code or click on this link so that you can join all our communities. You can find the slides in our YouTube recordings in the description, and yeah, feel free to join our community. Agile delegations. So far, what we promised to the community in our Polkadot Treasury proposal has been developed, not yet delivered. We're going to include it in the next release, which should happen quite soon. I believe we could make it the next week. So you can see the list of the features which will be available for you as a user for Agile delegations. So it's create delegation, view delegations, remove, edit, as well as view list of accounts available for delegations and what your delegates have voted for. So let's start the demo and let's talk specifically first regarding the viewing delegation. And then we're going to see this, let's say, actions with the delegations. So for that, let me open the emulator. You should see it now. If not, let me know. So we're going to the vote tab, and right now Agile delegations are available on Kusama network. And we also have news on the recent announcement. I think it's now visible that Polkadot might have it quite like on the roadmap for the 3 or 4 months from now on. So you can see it basically on activity happening on the GitHub. But also other networks such as Moonbeam and Moonriver, they are willing to adopt the OpenGov, and I think the Moonriver already did it. So you can expect this feature to be available on not only on the Kusama, but also on the Moonbeam, Moonriver, Polkadot, and other networks which are going to adopt the OpenGov functionality, and Agile delegations is kind of the part of it. So let's see. I'm specifically right now on the account which has delegated already some of the votes to this account, this delegate, which is Chaos DAO. And we see that this account in particular delegated just for the Treasury Small Tips track 10 votes, which is 10 Kusama tokens with 1 conviction, right? And what is happening right now? Now I can see on my main screen, which is vote screen, that how this delegate is using my votes, or how my votes are used through this delegate, right? So you can see that for this particular referendum number 84, you can see that Chaos DAO used 10 of my votes that I have delegated to them to vote as NAI. But also at the same time below, you can see that I am personally voted on the referendum number 92 with my 600 votes, because it's kind of the Treasury medium spend track, so it's another track, and I'm able to use my own votes, right? So on one screen, on one page, I can see like all information for the referendums, who has voted, either myself or my delegates, right? So that should give you a lot of clarity in this context. Further in this direction, to view the delegations and the votes, you can go to the details of the referendum. And before what we had this I and NAI votes available for each of the referendums, right? But what we have now is more advanced. So let me go to the NAI votes, and you can see that for some of the accounts, you can see this little chevron, right, icon for the staker space, Liberty. And let's check the Chaos DAO, because I have delegated, I mean, this account has delegated for them. And you can see that we have marked that Chaos DAO is an organization, right? This yellow icon. And if we will tap on this chevron, we can see the whole decomposition for like, what is the vote that Chaos DAO allocated to this referendum, what it consists from, right? And we can see all the delegates starting from this account, the next one. You can see my own delegation on the 4th place. And in the end, we can see the chaos DAO votes themselves, kind of the ending this list, right? If you want to hide it, we can press this icon again, but this can show you all the picture, right? Who has delegators, who has votes from the delegators added to their own votes. And this is pretty interesting, right? You can see that lots of accounts actually has a delegator's votes inside of them, right? And you can do whatever you want with this data. You can analyze it. You can, yeah, basically see. You can check who these accounts are, like check them on Explorer, copy them, and so on. So this is great. This gives you a picture like how many delegators are there and how many delegates are there, like using this delegated votes. So that's a great feature. Let's take a look on another one. Whenever we go to the delegate lists, so accounts which you would like to delegate to, we can see all of them, right? Either with additional data, like you can see the Paradox, Chaos DAO, or myself, or Novasama, right? And you can see the accounts that have not provided yet their information on the No Wallet GitHub. But it doesn't matter for our next feature, which is basically you can go to any of this account. Let's, for example, go to the Paradox one, and you can see and you can check how is he voting for all the referendums, right? So you can tap here, and that basically will give you an information for the all referendums that Paradox or any other delegate that you would like to delegate to has voted. What was the strategy? What was the direction of a vote? Is it like an aye? Is it aye? Or maybe it was just an abstain vote, like you can see this one, right? So the Paradox decided to not really like vote against or in favor to this, but just decided to abstain for the voting. So you can see all of this information now available for you as a delegator to analyze before delegating your own votes towards certain account or certain delegate, right? So this is a great tool. In addition to this, you can also track kind of activity. So you can see the voted last 30 days, and that basically will give you information like how active all of these accounts are, right? That should be considered as a metric as well. So this is really helpful for you to get these insights to first make decision, second, check that your decision that you made in the past is valid towards your values, and comparing this like voting results from the delegate, right? And that allow you to basically judge and adapt over the time with your delegations. So this is regarding how you can observe this information now from the No wallet. And let's take a look on how you can play with this, right? How you can create a delegation. So for that, let's take a look on the account which has never yet delegated anything, right? So we're switching to this wallet. We are on the Kusama OpenGov. We have this add delegation button because, as I mentioned, this account has not delegated to any account. And if I remember correctly, that account also haven't voted to anything. That's why we don't have any logs here. So this is great. So it's completely clean account. We go to the add delegation. A small reminder what's going on here. Anyone can submit their additional information to the No Wallet GitHub, and you can press on this button, like describe yourself. You will be redirected to our wiki, which has all these nice instructions how to do so. But that will help you to kind of promote yourself as a delegate, or maybe as a delegate organization, right? Like in Chaos DAO case. So that you have more tight connection with community. But anyways, you can see this like a blue and yellow chips for those who did, right? But you can also have access to all these accounts just on-chain accounts, right? So those have not provided anything, but Nova has fetched them from the blockchain. Those has some delegations as well. So you can kind of continue delegating to them, because some people decided to do so. Why don't you take a look on them and maybe, yes, select them as well? So we can see all of them. Yeah, let's select any account here. For example, yeah, let's take this one. So we can have information regarding like a delegate, which you can obtain from the blockchain, right? We can have the address, we can have the identity itself, right? So the web page and whatever the account decided to put for the identity, and also all this delegations information that I was mentioning before, right? Like how on what referendums that account already voted, how it voted, and also like you can see who delegated across how many tracks. And that account in particular has 2 delegations across 15 tracks, right? So that's great. Let's take a look also on the account from the list. Let's say again Paradox for this like an additional data. They can put anything. So Paradox decided to put this text. Someone like myself decided to put a bit more text, even pictures, videos. Everything is supported. You can be creative, but basically the strategy here is that attract the delegations. So let's try to delegate to somebody. And for the sake of demo, I will delegate to myself just to show you the whole process of the features, right? So I'm selecting myself here. I have big blue button, add delegation below. I'm press here. I don't really care about the tracks assignment between multiple delegations. So I'll just proceed and select all the tracks. And then I'm just reusing all my logs, this coming from the staking, I believe. And for the conviction, I will select, let's say 2. I'm previewing my transaction and I'm confirming that. And now what will happen is that my delegation, so my votes that I just added to the main account, so that account with kind of identity, right? All of them will be used every time my main account is voting. So let's see how it works. First of all, you can see the that your delegation that you just did appeared on your screen. So you can always review it, always get access to like how many votes you have delegated. And pay attention that this is basically 214 votes. It's a sum up of the delegation that I just did multiplied on the tracks, right? So you can see that it's basically 14 votes per track, which results in 200 votes total, right? So we just did delegation. So let's see what is happening. On my main screen, there is nothing yet. Oh, wait, we already can see this interesting information, but let me switch to the main account, right? So let's try to vote for any referendum. Let's try to vote for the 995, right? And here we're going to vote pretty much random. I will clean my vote after this, but I will just vote randomly like I to support this. So we can just wait for a couple more seconds for this information to be published on the blockchain. We can see for the referendum card that our votes are now available on the blockchain. So it's submitted, everything successfully. And if I go here to my votes, what I should see, I should be able to find myself here if everything was loaded completely. Let me check. I can see Paradox here. And yeah, let me try again. And I can find myself now. So the data processed. So now I can find myself. And if I open the list of the accounts, this the second one from the last is basically the account that I just added from the delegation. So those 14 votes are now accountable to my vote, right? And you can see that basically this is how my vote as an account is composed from basically 3 accounts: my own vote here, and 2 which coming from the delegators, right? And basically that's coming for the others. Now let's go back to the other account and let's see how it looks like on their side. So it was 95. And we're switching to 95. And yeah, we can see basically that that account has not voted by themselves, but it has information that this 14 votes that was delegated towards that account were accounted automatically, because yeah, that's how the delegate has voted, and your votes as a delegator was used in these delegate vaults. So that's about creating delegation and how it affects further, right? Now, let's take a look on removing delegation, or let's take a look first on editing the delegation. So if I have changed my mind, right? So I want to remove delegation or change the delegation. For example, I want to increase amount of the votes towards this delegate, or maybe like I want to remove certain track from this delegate. That's totally doable. So I'm going to, again, delegate. I find my delegation, and now I press big blue button, edit, right? What I can see here is all the tracks that I have previously selected. And now what I can do, I can, for example, remove staking. So I don't want this delegate now to be able to use my votes for any governance referendums in the staking category or staking track, right? So I don't want him to vote with my tokens towards any changes in the staking in the ecosystem on this network, right? And let's remove the treasury as well. So let's remove those. I press continue. And then I need to basically tell for those tracks which are remained, how many tokens I would like to have, right? So previously we had basically all tokens from the staking plus 2 times conviction. So here it is. So as I tap continue, we can preview for what tracks we would remain the delegation basically, and that would be it. So I press confirm, and that should basically change my delegation from what it was to new tracks that I just edited. So I basically removed some tracks, and it's just for treasury tracks now. What I can also do, I can just increase the amount of tokens or change the conviction. So I can raise my conviction, for example. So let's do that. And again, that will update my delegation. And now that account will have more voting power towards the tracks that I have selected with updated amount of the votes. So that's great. You can update your delegations at any time. Basically, just make sure that whenever you started to delegate to somebody, there is like a similar to staking, the time period that you need to wait, like undelegating period. So as soon as you would like to stop delegating for in a certain track, or maybe like completely remove the delegation from the delegate, that means that you will need to wait and basically your conviction period time or undelegating period for simplicity here before you would be able to like unlock these tokens from the governance, right? Because that time is basically used for the conviction, for increasing the voting power of your delegation. So that's why you need to wait whenever you want to remove this delegation. So that's regarding the edit delegation. Revoke delegation or remove delegation is pretty straightforward. It's kind of similar to the edit. You can actually edit, in the edit, you can remove all your delegation, but we have a separate button for revoking delegations, either in one of the tracks or in all of them. So let's remove completely the delegation, and let's see what will happen. Now I don't have any delegations. So if I go back, basically I don't have delegations. Now, yeah, I need to just add a delegation. But remember that on the blockchain, I submitted my desire to delegate, and also this account already used, or it doesn't matter actually, but anyways, that account already voted with my delegation, right? Therefore, even when I decided to, in a couple of minutes, decided to stop delegating, similar to staking, you basically already put a lock on your tokens. And that's why whenever you go here, you would be able to see that lock that you have put initially with your delegation. And you can see the timer that with a 3 times conviction, it was saying that you need to wait for 28 days before unlocking the tokens. And here you go, basically the same amount, the same information is visible for you. So make your decisions clear, think carefully whenever you try to play with the conviction, right? To increase the voting power for your delegation, similar to the votes on the governance, right? Because it affects the lock for your token. Of course, you can stake the tokens which you used in the governance, but still you need to always take this into the consideration. All right, so we have covered in this demo all of our features: create delegations, view delegations in all of the details, remove delegations, and edit delegation. I can see that there are some messages in the chat. Let me cover this one. Can I look for a particular account myself that not on the list? So first, just to remind how this list is composed, right? So whenever any person or organization adding their information on our GitHub repository, that will appear here, even if they will not have delegations, right? So that will be appeared on the list. But for the accounts that never did this, we can show them if they have delegations, right? So if someone delegated to this account, that will be visible basically on this list. And that list, by the way, I have not shown this on this demo, but you can sort this list. You can disable, like, let's say I want to see only organizations, so only organizations will be here. But I can also sort it by the amount of the votes. So you can see that, for example, that account has the biggest amount of votes delegated towards that. Now, we have not added by our treasury proposal the feature to search any random account or any account that, let's say, doesn't have any delegation, right? But you would like to precisely delegate to this address because you, for example, would like to be the first delegator for this delegate, right? So we're considering this to kind of add to be a complete release. Eventually, maybe right now, maybe in the next Polkadot treasury proposal. So we will see, like after the final testing, how things are. But yeah, that's how it works right now. And potentially in the future, not potentially, but in the future, we're going to add this kind of search button so that you can add any account to any delegation. Yeah, so kind of like we have it on the staking for selecting validators. Yeah, I hope I covered this question. I love being able to click on account in the vote list to see it. Yeah, that's a really great thing. It's kind of lots of social interactions, I would say, right? And it also helps you to, yeah, analyze the data. You can get very detailed. Yeah, exactly. So we're really curious to see the feedback from the community and how it will, what traction it will give. All right, so that's it for the Agile delegations. Yeah, feel free to drop the questions. I'm going to back to our demo slides just to be on time. And staking improvements. So staking improvements is actually our last piece from the Polkadot treasury proposal. Initially, yeah, I don't have the proposal in front of me, but initially we wanted to cover it in two directions. So there is an issue that even though the Nova wallet is showing you the minimal amount of staking right now, so whenever you go on the staking tab, for example, the Polkadot, and you have this network information about staking, and you can see this information to have like minimal staking 293 DOT. I don't think that it is all updated already with the feature, but the issue with this is that Nova wallet was doing previously, like it was trying to find the minimal amount for the staking across all active nominators, which is not really a reliable source of information on a timeline of different eras, because tomorrow, which is next era on Polkadot, that number will go to, let's say, 300, and you as a person who started to stake exactly as a minimal amount of DOT, you will not be able to receive reward because the network condition changed, and now you are staking below the minimal stake, which resulted in not the best conditions so for the user. So right now we're going to tune this parameter so that users will see now, I would say it's still minimum stake, but it will be considered as a recommended stake. So the number will be higher than you can see right now. So let's say like it will show you 320 just for you to mitigate these risks of network changing these conditions on a short-term period, right? Of course, you should always stake more than the minimum because you can see how this is being changed on a daily basis. But still, that should help a lot of users because a lot of users right now watching on the minimal stake, adding one dot to this and start staking, and then 3 days later, they see that their stake is not active, right? So we're going to address this shortly. The next one, so first two are basically addressing this. So we did the new calculation, and also now the new warning will appear whenever the user trying to stake below that amount. So that should be taken into account. And the third one is a little bit tricky one, but whenever these things are happening, the users can find them in the situation that basically they are now stuck in a so-called queue or in the backlist, if we're talking technically on the substrate terms. But in order to exit this queue or exit this backlist, they need to manually execute the transaction. And we decided to provide a convenient interface for any users who are stuck in this situation, because right now, I believe none of the applications provide this. So users can face the situation that they will be stuck forever in this state until they increase their staking by a lot, right? So we will tune the alerts. So we will show this alert. The text is going to be most likely changed. But whenever you will find your account in this condition, Node will always tell you, and you will be able to exit from it quite fast. So that's also good. And that's extremely helpful on the Polkadot networks and a couple of the solo chains networks. If you're familiar with the Ternoa, that would be a huge improvement for their staking. All right, so that's about staking improvements right now. That being said, we have lots of great ideas for staking in our next treasury proposal. So keep an eye on that one. And let's basically discuss the roadmap. For the roadmap, we are finalizing the all development for our current Polkadot Treasury grant and preparing the next one. We also prepared the next one for the Moonbeam Treasury, which should include in it the NFTs supported on their network, as well as the staking improvements for the Moonbeam and Moonriver. To be specific, the after compounding will be supported. And we also continue to work with the subquery to provide the cross-chain indexer so that you can expect some improvements in the area of the operation history in Node Wallet, but there are no yet detailed timeline for this one. And also, pay attention for our social medias because we are going to publish lots of new announcements for the new partnership and the grants, I believe the next 2 months. So that would be it from my side. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me check the chat. Yeah, I agree. That's really interesting. All right, so no questions in the chat. Then thank you so much, everyone, for participating. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Cheers.